welcome back to another edition of GNAT-TV's In-Depth Series. I'm Andrew McKeever. Today is Wednesday, November 5th, and in about a week and a half, there will be a very special event at the Southern Vermont Arts Center. The Moth Radio Hour will be coming there on Saturday the 15th. The Vermont Symphony Orchestra will be presenting its annual Made in Vermont series this year in collaboration with the Moth Radio Hour, and it should be quite an interesting show. Storytellers from the Moth Radio Hour will narrate writings by poet Robert Frost and other important Vermonters, as well as personal stories. All of it set to live orchestral accompaniment by the Vermont Symphony Orchestra. So it should be a great event, a great show, and here to tell us a little bit about it were our two folks. Maxine Linehan is someone who probably to many of us locals here needs no introduction, but just in case, she's a well-known local musician, an international concert and recording artist, and has recorded several musical recordings. And Maxine, I believe you have your own show coming up at the Arts Center in December, if I'm not mistaken. I already have tickets for that. That's
right. The annual holiday concert. I'm surprised every year that we bring it back, but it's become a Vermont tradition and a really favorite night for our community. But for me, I love it. I love that night. So that's December 6th.
Okay. Well, I already have my tickets, so I'll be there.
Great.
And also a great pleasure to have with us today Andrew Crust, who is the music director of the Vermont Symphony Orchestra. He has an international career as a conductor of orchestral, opera, ballet, film, and pops program. So, Andrew, great to have you with us today, too, to help us, learn more about what's going to be happening here. And I guess let me start with you, if I may. Can you tell us a little bit about what will be going on with this event? What will be happening in addition to the music and everything?
Yes, thank you, Andrew, for having us on. I'm thrilled to bring this program. This is a part of our Made in Vermont series, which is a long tradition that we've had for many years. And it tries to be Vermont-centric. And typically we bring a smaller orchestra. Our orchestra can be as large as 80 players, depending on what we're doing. But that size of an orchestra won't fit in every little corner of Vermont. So we bring a smaller orchestra to as many cities as we can, being a statewide orchestra, and try to present something that is in some way Vermont related. And in this case, these are the local Moth readers, that Moth Radio Hour readers that we've invited to collaborate on this program, as well as the other special guest readers like Maxine. And the entire concept of this program is stories. And this is all based around the Moth Radio Hour concept. So they, of course, are a radio show that is very well known, and they tell stories from the heart. It's often unscripted, off the cuff, very fluid. So I worked with Suzanne Schmidt at Moth Radio Hour to identify some really great readers and really great stories, and we found music that would be good underscoring for those stories. And then around that sort of core, I built the rest of this program, and every single piece on the program has a story that it's based on or that it is telling, whether it be from the Indigenous composer Sunny Ray Dayrider, or the Benjamin Britten String Symphony, which has a movement based on a Rudyard Kipling story. Every piece on this program is around that concept of stories. And I will add, we're taking it to 2 schools as a part of our young people's programs, where we'll present this program in the schools, as well as collaborate with students on the actual readings as well.
Wow, that sounds fascinating. So, Maxine, you're going to be one of the readers. What will you be reading?
So I am reading 2 pieces. I'm reading one of the Moth Hour stories that was written by another gentleman. He's unable to be there on November 15th. So I'm stepping in to read his beautiful story about spontaneity. And it's a lovely story that takes place in Burlington, and it's inspiring to think about just jumping into something in the deep end, something you're unprepared for, and you just never know what's going to happen. So it's a beautiful story. I don't want to give it away because I want people to come and listen to it. And then I'm reading this beautiful letter written by Calvin Coolidge called I Love Vermont. And you know, Andrew, how much I love Vermont. I've now lived here for almost 10 years. I'm from Ireland, but spent 2 decades in New York City, and Vermont. This letter that's written just describes the beauty of Vermont in this lovely letter, and storytelling combined with music is one of the great art forms. I mean, if you're singing like I do for most of my career, you're telling a story, and these beautiful pieces are set to the gorgeous music played by the VSO, and it's kind of what we're all looking for right now, right? Is a little bit of connection and intimacy and listening to stories, feeling inspired. It's that basic human connection that we're all dying for at the moment.
Yeah, indeed. Andrew, perhaps this is a question for you. Who decides what writings or stories are going to be told? Is that a decision that comes from the Vermont Symphony Orchestra or Moth Radio, or who picks what stories are going to be read?
In my role as music director, one of my big responsibilities is to choose all of the programming and guest artists for the season in collaboration with our staff and our board. But I really trusted Suzanne Schmidt from Moth to identify the really great local readers who we're going to be having. And then, of course, once Tom Baginski had to back out, we relied on our network of wonderful donors and board members to identify Maxine and others who could fill in. And we've got such a great network in the state. But I took those original Moth stories as a basis, as I mentioned, and then I put together the rest of the program around that. There's also a reading of Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening, which is the first poem I ever memorized, and that's going to be also read by a number of students at schools. And so it really fell into place quite well because, as Maxine said, stories and music go together, whether it be purely instrumental music, as we have in some cases here, or music that actually has words and lyrics or is based on legends or folklore. So this was not difficult. And these are pieces which are well known, some of them, and really feature the virtuosity of our string orchestra that we'll be bringing across the state.
Maxine, I wanted to kind of drill down a little bit further on what you were saying earlier about what the ingredients of a good story are. I mean, I guess there's a beginning, a middle, and an end to it, I suppose. But when you're crafting a piece of music or thinking about a story you're going to tell, I mean, what are some of the ingredients in that story that's, sort of stand out as, well, I've got to really make clear the listeners, in this case, understand?
It's a great question, and I actually think it's much less about the structure of a story and much more about the authenticity of the storytelling. And I think that's what has made the Moth Hour such a massive success. It's these folks that are coming to tell their stories versus reading a lovely novel or reading a beautiful poem. That the personal connection inside of these stories is what makes them so captivating, and the idea behind the Moth Hour is these are not professional storytellers, these are not actors and performers, these are people who just had a moment in their lives that was so memorable or so profound that they just really wanted to share it. And so for me, I talk about this in my shows all the time. I get asked to sing lots of different material, but I have to connect with it. And so I think that's where the storytelling comes in, is how you connect anything that you're saying to your personal experience. For me, authenticity is where the story really takes off.
And it must have been interesting, Andrew, to come up with pieces of music to connect with the stories. I'm looking at the program here. You have a really interesting lineup of pieces that VSO is going to be playing. But what prompted you to pick a certain piece for a certain story?
Well, I really just let my imagination run wild. And of course, there are practical concerns like how many players do we have? It's not a full symphony orchestra. We're using a string orchestra this time because of our size limitations in certain halls. And so once you narrow down all these things, there's really less to choose from. But I start from, as Maxine said, that authenticity and what is the one kind of emotional core of the piece. And so for a more lighthearted piece, and Leroy Anderson's Plink Plank Plunk is great, but that does not work for Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening. So I try to take what is the emotional nugget of this piece, and then already a list of things are entering my brain from, of course, many years of programming hundreds and hundreds of concerts. It's actually my favorite part of the job to put these puzzles together. I think it's really satisfying.
Well, it certainly sounds like it's going to be a great show. Again, Saturday, November 15th, I think starting at 7:30. Tickets are available on the SVAC website at svac.org. I guess I just wondered, just last question, is this the first time this has been done in Manchester? I don't recall hearing about the Moth Radio Hour or anything like it being performed at the Arkell Pavilion before, but maybe I'm forgetting something. But this will be the first time we'd be doing this.
I can't speak for the Moth Radio Hour, but this is the very first collaboration between the Moth Radio Hour and any symphony orchestra. So this is really something we've created from scratch, and it's a premiere in a sense of this concept. So I think that alone is a great reason to come and check it out.
Okay, great. Well, we'll leave it there for today, and thank you all very much for being with us. The show will be starting at 7 p.m. on Saturday, November 15th at the Southern Vermont Arts Center, the Arkell Pavilion. Sounds like it's going to be a great program and well worth going to. So, again, tickets are available at the Southern Vermont Arts Center website at svac.org, and sounds like it'll be a lot of fun. Take care.